welcome back to the channel. As I'm shooting this video, it's 12 months since here in the UK our Prime Minister Boris Johnson uttered those words, "You must stay at home." And as this video goes out and as you're watching from home, the stay-at-home restrictions will now have ended as part of the roadmap to recovery from lockdown. So I thought it only apt to look back over the last 12 months and see how lockdown has influenced and shaped and changed my approach to landscape photography. So in today's film, I'm going to walk through the two most important lessons that I've learned during lockdown and the last 12 months. So it's March here in the UK. It's drab, it's dull. There's no beautiful sunrise or stunning sunset. We have no snow, there is no frost. We have no fog or mist. The landscape is not very well lit, it's drab, it's uninteresting, it's quite uninspiring. And in looking out of the window, when you're sat at home looking at the conditions outside and seeing the weather as it is currently and has been for the last few weeks, it's so easy to say, I'm not going to get outside, I'm just going to stay at home. But one thing is absolutely certain, you ain't going to capture any landscape photography images sat at home. So in the past, certainly myself, I've been really guilty of waiting for those optimal conditions, whether it be that glorious sunrise, that stunning sunset, that mist or that fog. But that's lesson number one that I've learned, and something that has really struck a chord with me, is that you can shoot in any types of weather, any light, any conditions. And that's something I've tried to demonstrate in the last two films that I've made and put out. And if you haven't seen those, I'll put a link to the description down below in the comments. So for me, it's about learning how to characterize and distinguish those different types of light and conditions during the day, and how you can best optimize those using the composition, using the camera, a different lens, maybe different settings, filters, polarizer, to try and maximize and get the best out of the weather, the light, the conditions and the time of day. Okay, so maybe I'm not going to get portfolio quality images, but I am going to capture photographs and I am going to practice and hone the skill and the craft. So like today in this first shot, it's like a lunar landscape up here on the slag heaps. The jet coal blacks and tracks of the long forgotten exploratory maneuvers of the moon rover, now just a discarded and rusting wreck, abandoned 240,000 miles distance on the surface of the moon. What I really like about this image is just this pure simplicity, the contrast of the rust against the black and that otherworldly feeling and celestial mood. And when the weather's like this, it's a great time to have a reconnoitre, to search out those compositions that might be more suited to different conditions like the fog or the mist or the different seasons. Like here, flying over the wetlands, which really does just look quite barren, devoid really of any signs of life, with most of the flora and fauna dormant. Just imagine how different this scene will look in spring, summer, autumn or winter. Imagine those silver birch peering through a layer of mist with autumn golden yellows caught in a golden sidelight. Or this scene, this reminds me of those lyrics. He painted matchstalk men and matchstalk cats and dogs. He painted children on the corner of the street, sparking clogs. Of course, yes, that's L.S. Lowry, Lawrence Stephen Lowry, a famous artist from actually just down the road, down the East Lancs Road in Pendlebury. Spent much of his life, 40 years in fact, living and working in Pendlebury, Salford area, making paintings of those industrial scenes. And looking at those matchstalk silver birches, if L.S. Lowry did do landscapes, this is how I would imagine his pictures would have looked. my channel aims to inspire you to get outside into nature, into the countryside and enjoy the landscape, from where I share my experiences, my thoughts, my opinions of landscape photography, and hopefully motivate you to get outside and take a few images. If you've enjoyed this film, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoy this sort of content, please do consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell to ensure you enjoy all my future episodes. So the second lesson, the second most important thing I've learned during lockdown in the last 12 months is all about enjoying the beauty of the local landscape. When restrictions were first eased back in May 2020 and we were first allowed out, I set myself a challenge which I called the 20-minute drive challenge, and that was all about getting in the car and driving for a maximum of 20 minutes before parking up and exploring the local landscape and seeing what compositions I could find. So I found myself in woodlands and country parks that I'd never visited before, taking a real interest in woodland photography, something I hadn't previously shot, learning all about creating compositions and separating that chaos in nature. I found many a public footpath I'd never walked or didn't even know about, wandering their paths with no expectations, just taking images as I happened across any interesting compositions. The most bizarre being a footpath that runs right through the Unilever soapworks in Warrington, where I caught this image as dawn broke and the sun rose through the industrial buildings. So I only started my YouTube channel at the end of July 2020, and I'll now put up some more of those images that I took as part of my 20-minute drive challenge before I set up the channel. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's film. I hope you've enjoyed the topic and the subject matter. I hope you found it interesting. As always, thank you ever so much for watching. It really, really is appreciated. So thank you very much for watching. Everybody out there, take care, stay safe, and until next time, goodbye.